Hey folks, welcome back to BizTalk. My name is Rick Gutierrez, your host, and we're excited that you're continuing to stick with us. We're continuing our conversation with our executive producer, Mr. Todd Wall, who is also a communications coach. So, Todd, welcome back to the show. I know we have a conversation pending in terms of, your expertise and something that you really wanted to share with folks that could potentially help many, many people. So tell us all about it.
First off, I want to lay out we're always in a different situation. We're always in a particular situation. Sometimes people will lay out a mission statement or a purpose statement, and it has all these grand ideas to it. But what is it? How does it apply to the situation I'm actually in? And so let me give context first. So regardless of the long-term vision you have for your life, we're always within a specific parentheses moment. And in order to get from one point to the other point, I need to believe in a certain way and act in a certain way.
Absolutely.
That's maybe unique to the rest of my life, but it's so that I can get to the other end of that parentheses. Specifically, how I believe in different situations in order to get from point A to point B. If I address each situation like they're all the same, then I'm never going to handle myself correctly the way that I want to. Okay, so let me talk to you about one of these parentheses frameworks. This is situational leadership for you in your life. So whatever situation is, I need to know, what do I really want to accomplish in this situation? Once I know what I really want to accomplish, what's fighting against me? Meaning, what's the hero outcome of this story? Because we are all living in a story. If we're not living in a story, why do we watch TV so much? Yeah. So, what's the hero outcome of this situation? And what's the villain that's really fighting against me in this scenario?
And there's always one.
Most times, most of the clients I sit down with, Rick, they're the actual villain of their life. Yep. And so we'll begin with, what do I really want to accomplish? That's the first part of this framework. What's fighting against me? If it's me, give yourself a villain name so that it separates from you and it becomes something that's out here. So I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z, but I keep running into Captain Horrible, and he keeps making me think that I'm smaller than I am, that I need to just be quiet, that I just need to be passive. But if I want to accomplish 1, 2, 3, I need to, and then you just brainstorm on, here's the things that I'm going to need to do in order to get to a new outcome. I'm going to need to be the type of person that does 1, 2, 3. I am a person who believes X, Y, Z in this specific moment. I believe that I'm capable of X, Y, Z. I believe that sometimes we get in a place where we think everybody's out to get us. I believe that I don't believe that people are out to get me. Being intentional and laying that out as a core belief in this moment will help you guide through that moment. And so you list about 4 things, and then they're going to start in a long sentence, and then you boil them down to, how can I make that sentence a little bit more memorable? And here's one of the next power things. So let's say I need to believe that that people are good in this world. Let's say that. I need to believe that people are good in this world. Here's a power move. Just removing that word need, pulling that out, and feel it as I go, I always believe that people are good in this world. Yeah. Rick, powerful. Even as I said that sentence, did you feel it shift?
Oh yeah, that's why I said powerful. it was quite a
powerful,
shift.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
That always word. There's key words that we put into these sentences that guide us through. Always is one of those. Another power word that I use a lot is nevertheless. I'm feeling this, nevertheless, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So my mentor in college always said, it's not by what I think or by what I feel, but by an act, nevertheless, of my will, I choose to do this. That's a shout out to the great Jim Towns. And so so that's how you build these statements,
Right.
and you boil them down into a memorable phrase. And the last part of that sandwich is the next bottom line is so that, and you state the outcome that you're wanting to see,
Right.
or the negative you don't want to see. You have to put the stakes that are important in the situation. You have to put them at the very where you can see it. Because think about this, Rick. Any movie or show that you watch, if there's not something at stake within the first 10 minutes, do you keep watching?
Nah.
No.
Just keep scrolling.
No. You're
keep
like,
scrolling.
there's nothing here. I don't care how cool they look or how pretty she is. If there's nothing in here for me, then I have no reason to watch. You need to communicate yourself to yourself that same way. Donald Miller in the Story brand, he really lays out a lot of these same elements, and I pull from his material quite a bit. But what is the aspirational identity? Meaning, what does happily ever after look like for you? And I even say, in this situation. Not just long term. You know, yes, we need that long-term vision, and that's going to be a magnet to pull us forward. But in this parentheses, we're all in a unique parentheses moment. In this current parentheses, what do I need to believe that can carry me from point A to point B? What would be the best case scenario and outcome from this parentheses moment, that if I just killed it, I'm just like the ultimate Todd in this moment. And I really just come through like a VIP. What would that ultimate outcome be?
Yeah.
I mean, think about how often we
it'd
just
be a
don't
great
even
one. I
think
mean,
about.
it'd be something out of this world that you didn't even expect that you could achieve. And you know, I completely agree with you with everything that you're saying. And often when I'm having conversations, when someone, you know, asks me how it is that I am able to do what I'm able to do, and they want to emulate that, the first thing I ask is, are you ready to move out of your own way and get rid of everything that you've ever known? And you'd be surprised as to how many people just kind of lean back and they're not understanding or not knowing where I'm coming from or where I'm going with it.
Don't know how.
And they don't know how. And I think it's a very powerful thing. But, you know, coming from experience, I had to move myself out of my own way in many times, in many different scenarios, whether it's in personal or in business. And there are many times to where we are our own villain. You are correct. We are, you know.
And it comes down to doing the pre-work ahead of time, and the difficult things you do when no one else is around to really till up the ground of your heart and really to clear out your mind. We're all wounded, every single one of us, from something, whether it's mommy wounds, daddy wounds, friend wounds. We're all wounded in some way, shape, or form. There was this one ministry I was involved with at one time, Celebrate Recovery. It said we're all recovering from something. Right. So I want to lay out an example for you of some deep work that I did over the holidays. So growing up, I played soccer growing up, played in college. And my dad and my parents were wonderful. They were at every game. I feel like they were at virtually every game I was ever at. But my dad, when I'd come off the field, my dad would say, I'd say, you know, what'd you think? And he'd say, well, you look like a player. I took that as he didn't think I was good enough.
Because of the word you look like?
Yeah. Yeah, he said, you look like a player. You didn't play like one, but you look like one. He didn't say
you are. Right.
And so I took that as a wound for years and years and years and years.
Right.
And I did some deep work over the holidays. And through really going into that difficult wound and really analyzing it, why would my dad want me to believe that? Here's what I recognized. He wasn't wanting me to think that I was less than myself. less than that. That he, I looked back at my dad's life, and the regrets that he had was when he didn't do something bold. When he didn't make the steps. When he made the safe choice, and he didn't go big, he didn't go and make an impact. Those were the moments that he regretted. So I flipped that wound completely on its head, and it's not a wound anymore. So what I thought was a daddy wound of my dad didn't think I was good enough, it was actually my dad saying, go for exclamation points. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that? I feel it when I say it now.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't saying I wasn't a good player. He was saying, you played passive. You need to go bigger. You are worth going bigger. But if we don't do the deep work and get these things intentionally on paper, the critical thing is intentional communication creates intentional results.
Absolutely.
If I'm intentional in analyzing what's going in my mind, into my heart, and out of my mouth, then I'm going to get intentional results out of it.
Yep. Intentionality creates results, whether we like it or not, or see it or not. But intentionality is the key word of this segment. And Todd, I appreciate you being on the show. It's a great conversation, and I think you've enlightened not only me, but everyone listening, everybody watching. And we should probably have some more of these conversations on this show, because I think they're powerful.
Absolutely. I love it. And Communication Makeover is all about these types of things. We're trying to analyze what goes into my mouth, into my heart, and then back out of my mouth, into my mind, heart, and then back out.
You know, one of the things I always tell folks is that everyone is amazing at one thing. It could be just one thing that they are amazing in. And if they do not deploy that to the world, then they're never going to know how impactful they can be. So I always tell folks, deploy your impact. You're going to do amazing. You're going to do great. And I love sharing that, and I like to tell people that because it's also a reminder for oneself that we need to continue to remove ourselves from our own way so that we can go out there and not so much be a villain for ourselves, but also be a hero to our end story. So,
yeah, you got that right.
All right, Todd, we appreciate you again being on the show. Like I said, we're going to have some more of these conversations, but thank you for being on the show. We appreciate you. All right, folks, we have come to the... Thanks, sir. We come to the end of this show. We appreciate you sticking with us. We hope you enjoyed the content and the conversations with amazing business entrepreneurs and business owners. Until next time, take care of each other.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.